Imagine a single conversation, brief, perhaps just minutes long, that could profoundly shift the course of your health as a man over 60. Strangely, it's a conversation most physicians never initiate during routine checkups. It's not about expensive medications or invasive procedures. It's about 3 daily habits, simple, evidence-based, and profoundly impactful, that can shield your prostate health for years to come. These routines are not lifted from wellness fads or internet trends. They are grounded in rigorous science, affirmed by clinical research, and supported by decades of urological experience. I'm Dr. Samra Tarajlik, a board-certified urologist with more than 18 years of experience caring for men's health. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the most important insights I've gained about prostate wellness. Insights that may very well reshape how you care for yourself or someone you love. If you're over 60 or cherish someone who is, I invite you to give me your full attention. The information I'm about to share is rooted in clinical practice, peer-reviewed literature, and one undeniable truth: prostate aging is not a sentence. It's a condition you can influence. Let me make just one promise before we begin. At least one of the 3 habits I'll introduce today is likely to surprise you. In fact, it might turn long-held beliefs about men's health completely on their head. Let's begin with a fundamental truth. While small, the prostate gland has a disproportionately large influence over a man's health post-50. Roughly the size of a walnut, it is situated just below the bladder and encircles the urethra, the very channel you use to pass urine from the body. Its main physiological role is producing seminal fluid, but as men age, that quiet background role becomes more complicated. From your early 50s onward, and especially after age 60, hormonal shifts, particularly changes in testosterone and its more potent derivative, dihydrotestosterone, DHT, stimulate prostate tissue to grow. This phenomenon is called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, and it's very common. About 60% of men experience BPH by age 60. That figure rises to 70% by your 70s. Sometimes the growth remains minimal. At other times, it leads to troubling symptoms: urinary urgency, straining during urination, a weak stream, and the persistent feeling of incomplete bladder emptying. And then there's the sleep disruption, waking up multiple times each night to urinate, which has downstream effects on everything from mood to cardiovascular health. Now here's something that might surprise you, even concern you. Too many men write off these symptoms as just a normal part of aging, but they're not inevitable, and they're certainly not irreversible. Recent advancements in functional urology, coupled with global studies on aging populations, point to a different conclusion. Prostate aging can be modulated, improved, even reversed, not through medication alone, but through simple daily choices. So allow me to walk you through 3 foundational habits that can significantly ease urinary symptoms, reduce inflammation, and promote better hormone balance. Best of all, they cost nothing, require no prescription, and are backed by robust science. The first habit seems deceptively simple: hydrate. But before you roll your eyes and say, "I already drink water," let me explain why hydration isn't just about quantity, it's about strategy. Older adults often suffer from chronic low-grade dehydration. A study published by the Journal of Gerontology found that men over 60 often experience reduced thirst signals. As a result, they unintentionally consume far less fluid during the day. Unfortunately, they compensate by chugging liquids in the evening, right before bed. And that's where the real problem begins. This sudden rush of fluid late in the day puts enormous pressure on the bladder overnight. For men with even mild BPH, this results in incomplete bladder emptying and interrupts deep sleep cycles, reducing time spent in regenerative stages of rest. More troublingly, dehydration leads to highly concentrated urine, which carries acidic waste products and other irritants that inflame the urinary tract and prostate tissue. One high-quality study in the Journal of Urology confirmed that men who consume less than 1.5 liters of water throughout the day experience more frequent, urgent urination and more severe nocturia, nighttime urination, than those who consumed between 2 to 2.5 liters spread out evenly throughout their waking hours. And when dehydrated participants improved their hydration patterns, symptoms improved within 2 to 3 weeks. Here's the key insight. Drink more water early and taper your fluids in the evening. Aim to consume 70% of your daily fluid intake before 6 p.m. Start the day with a full glass of water. Rehydrate between meals and after light activity. If you enjoy herbal teas, have those before dinner. After 7 p.m., simply sip as needed, enough to avoid discomfort, but not so much that it fills your bladder overnight. One recent study published in Neurourology and Urodynamics demonstrated that patients who front-loaded hydration in this way reduced nighttime urination by over 40%, a transformative improvement for both hormone regulation and immune function, as better sleep reduces systemic inflammation, stabilizes testosterone levels, and even positively impacts cardiovascular health. Now let's turn to the second habit. It's incredibly uncomplicated, yet incredibly underused: walking after meals. Let me share with you the story of Mr. Antonio, a 68-year-old retired engineer who walked into my clinic frustrated by a weakened urinary stream and the exhaustion from waking 6 times per night. After minor hydration adjustments, I gave him a simple prescription: walk for 15 minutes after lunch and dinner. Nothing strenuous, even a comfortable stroll would do. 2 weeks later, he returned with a wide smile. "Doctor, I woke up only twice last night. I feel like I got my nights back." This wasn't luck. This was evidence-based medicine in action. When you walk after meals, several things happen physiologically. First, pelvic blood flow increases, delivering more oxygen and micronutrients to organs like the bladder and prostate. Second, postprandial, after meal, movement stimulates glucose metabolism, preventing blood sugar spikes that fuel chronic inflammation. Published research in the Diabetes and Metabolic Syndrome Journal has found a direct relationship between dysregulated blood sugar levels and accelerated prostate enlargement. In fact, men with type 2 diabetes are significantly more likely to develop severe BPH symptoms. Why? Because insulin resistance increases sympathetic nerve activity, inflammation, and hormonal imbalances, all of which weaken urinary function over time. A study in the Journal of Inflammation Research further confirmed that low-intensity walks after meals significantly lowered systemic inflammatory markers, including IL-6 and CRP, even in older adults. You don't need rigorous exercise, just gentle, consistent movement, 10 to 15 minutes twice per day. If done 7 days per week, that's over 3 hours of inflammation-reducing activity every week with absolutely no side effects. And there's another benefit. Walking enhances digestion, reduces acid reflux risk, and therefore improves sleep. Another indirect bonus to your hormonal and urinary wellness. When you sleep better, your testosterone levels normalize, your bladder resets, and your prostate can heal. And now we come to the third and perhaps most misunderstood habit of all: maintaining a healthy sexual life, not just for pleasure, but for prostate protection. For years, the prevailing message was straightforward: ejaculate more. It helps. This was based largely on a widely cited Harvard study, which followed more than 30,000 men and found that those who ejaculated 21 times per month had up to a 33% lower risk of prostate cancer. But newer research reminds us, not all forms of sexual activity provide the same physiological benefit. Let's distinguish between solo masturbation and partnered intimacy. Both can lead to ejaculation, but the hormonal impact is different. Partnered intimacy releases oxytocin, profoundly lowers cortisol, stimulates serotonin and dopamine, and enhances emotional bonding, all of which promote immune resilience, better sleep, and improved pelvic muscle function. Conversely, habitual or compulsive masturbation has been linked in some studies, such as one published in BJU International, to increased pelvic floor tension and even modest rises in urinary dysfunction in aging men. The reason? In solo contexts, the body enters a different neurochemical cycle, often driven by reward-seeking rather than connection and emotional balance. This doesn't mean masturbation is harmful. In moderation, it's fine. but frequent solo activity, especially without relaxation or involving tension, may irritate the prostate and contribute to chronic congestion in the gland, something that is often overlooked in standard exams. Instead, focus on quality, intimate experiences. These can improve not only circulation and hormonal health, but reduce the stressors that directly affect prostate aging. No partner? There are still ways to support pelvic health, from guided pelvic floor physiotherapy to red light therapy devices that enhance circulation. Urologists now often recommend pelvic floor relaxation techniques for men, just as we do for women. Remember, intimacy isn't just about frequency, it's about physiology and emotional health, both of which impact your prostate. Now let's take a moment to tie it all together. These three habits, smart hydration, regular movement, and quality intimacy, work best when combined. Collectively, they form a shield against inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and tissue overgrowth. But they are only the foundation. True prostate health also depends on nutrition. Emphasize lycopene-rich foods like tomatoes, cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, and omega-3s from fatty fish. Keep your weight in a healthy range because excess abdominal fat increases estrogen conversion and fuels DHT levels, worsening BPH. Monitor cholesterol, blood pressure, and blood sugar. All of these metabolic indicators feed into your prostate's long-term health. And above all, do not skip your annual urology screening. At age 60 and beyond, an annual prostate exam, including PSA blood work and a digital rectal exam, can detect early changes, identify cancer at its lowest stages, and allow for lifestyle or medical adjustments before intervention becomes severe. If you're watching this and thinking, I'm too old to change now, let me be clear. The body is capable of adaptation at any age. I've seen men in their late 70s adopt these changes and significantly reduce urinary symptoms, improve energy levels, and even reconnect with their partners in ways they thought were long gone. Change doesn't begin with medication. It begins with a glass of water in the morning, a 15-minute after-dinner stroll, a renewed connection with your partner, or a conversation with your doctor. Start with just one adjustment. Build momentum. Over time, these small changes will restore not only prostate function, but your entire sense of well-being. So I challenge you today. Write these three habits down. Post them where you'll see them, on your fridge, your mirror, or your phone. Hydrate wisely, move consistently, connect intimately. They're more than routines. They're a form of respect for your body, your future, and your loved ones. Because when you take care of your prostate, you're not just avoiding discomfort, you're preserving independence, protecting vitality, and reclaiming quality of life. Now go make just one change today. And if this message resonated with you, share it with a friend, brother, or father figure. Let's end the silence around men's health together.